hypothetically, if you were to write a novel about one of the characters you've played, whose story would you want to tell?
Wow, that's a tall order, man. That is a really tall order. I can't say Henry Standing Bear because Craig Johnson wrote the book on that, so to speak. I mean, what he wrote in The Long March, and what he continues to write, by the way, his novel, The Next to Last Stand, is just out. I mean, Henry Standing Bear is iconic. I can only hope to have approached, what he created on the page, by filling him out on the screen. Man, that's a really interesting thought. You know what? I'm gonna actually take two projects, because this was my mindset in approaching the second half of that. I did a movie called Philly Brown with the wonderful Gina Rodriguez. I played her father in that, and Chrissy Fit as well. And he's an old cholo, a guy who used to be, a gangbanger, and now is trying to hold his family together. And I literally thought, what if Angel from Stand and Deliver grew up, became a responsible, member of the community, and had kids? And so in my mind, I thought, what is that path? What is that path from that, 18-year-old high school senior gangbanger who knows he's that smart, to getting to, having daughters and trying to deal with a dark past and be somebody who is inspirational to them, who holds together the family unit. I mean, that's an American story. And what's interesting is that, one of the other screenplays that I have that I hope to turn into a screenplay, to a novel at one point, is very much that. It's an American family story, where I can inject, my own experience as a mixed race, individual.
So now this question is for both of you. Do you, and I think, Lou, you kind of answered it a little bit earlier. Do you plot your entire stories with beat sheets and outlines, or are you more of a pantser and just fly by the seat of your pants? And which approach would you advise for writers? So both of you can answer this one.
Lou, do you want to go first?
Okay, because my answer will probably be shorter than yours. I have to plot it out, and that comes from a cinematic point of view. I think, in writing a screenplay, you have to have a beginning and a middle and end, or God, who was it? Orson Welles, I think, but not necessarily in that order. So plot, when you are, dealing with the 3-act or 5-act structure in film or television, is very important. You have to know where you're going, and you have to know how the characters are going to carry that story. I think in a novel, you might be able to, fly by the seat of your pants a little bit more. I'm going to reveal something now. I'm actually working on the sequel to Tinderbox.
Yeah.
Well, once again, Yvonne's idea. The response has been so great, and people have wanted to revisit this world, that we had a thought in mind for a year or two and thought, if we do a sequel, we'll do this. It seemed a little simplistic. And then out of the blue, about 3 months ago, Yvonne goes, what about this? And I went, oh my God, that's it. It is so out of left field, but so builds on what was there that it really gave me a jumping off place. So I'm literally, I finished 5 chapters. Those were plotted out. This one has a little bit more of a mystery element, so I know where it's going, but I wanted to get to it so quickly because I knew the Prodigal Son was coming up and my time would begin to be limited, that I plotted out the first 5. I know where it's going, but literally things occur to me every day or every other day that will affect how we get there. And I may have to go back and adjust a couple of the earlier chapters because there will be a mystery element to it.
I have absolutely no idea where my books are going when I start them. I begin with a vague premise. Alcoholic, hot mess of a flight attendant wakes up next to a dead body has no idea if she killed him. Young couple goes on a bike tour of Vietnam. He disappears and she discovers everything he told her was a lie. And then I just run with it. And that's for me sort of the joy of the fact that I depend on my characters to take me by the hand and lead me through the dark of the story. I usually figure out the ending somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of the way to the end. And just like Lou and his sequel to the Tinderbox, then that means going back to the beginning and figuring out, okay, if I want to end here, what's the pathway? Now, Scott Fitzgerald said that when you write a book, you're going to hit a lot of dead ends. And I've always paired that quote in my mind with my favorite quote from E.L. Doctorow. Writing a novel is driving at night. You got the headlights on and you can only see 200 feet ahead of you, but you have to have the faith that eventually you'll get where you're supposed to go.
Oh my, I love that. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
So now another question. It sounds like you both read a lot, so you do so many things. Do you have any book recommendations for us?
Oh my God, I've read quite a lot this year. Believe it or not, as I'm writing, it helps me actually to get away. And fortunately, I haven't stolen anything from anybody, but it's certainly inspirational. I will actually say that, I mean, for instance, The Water Witches, and you know, funny, I mean, Chris might go, oh God, that was 20 years ago, and my writing is different now. There was something so beautifully human, and it took its time, and that was really a lovely thing to you checked in with these people and you understood them, and you had a story that was very personal and very intimate, but had universal implications. And I will say that there is interestingly enough, Chris, there is an environmental aspect to my sequel, and Water Witches was a touchstone for me to go, that's worth talking about. That's worth talking about. And prescient, because you wrote that 25 years ago, and here we are still dealing with those issues. So yeah, you know, so yes, Red Lotus and Water Witches I read from Mr. Bohjalian this year. I'm currently reading, and which helps because she's laying breadcrumbs like nobody I've ever seen, and I'm 3/4 through the book and I still don't know where it's going. The Robert Galbraith / J.K. Rowling Cormoran Strike series, of which I'm a very big fan of. You're reading that one. Just recently read my friend Craig Johnson's Next to Last Stand. My wife made me go back, not go back. I had never read The Hobbit. I had never read it. I know, I'm guilty. So I read The Hobbit, and once again underlined the commitment to world building that I'm working with right now. So that was, and also, you know, unlikely heroes. You know, I mean, you know, Bilbo just didn't want to be there. So that's always, you know, somebody that you can relate to. My friend Tom Paine, the lead of Prodigal Son, did a film which I still have to see, but I read the book, The Physician, which was beautiful and sprawling and epic. He did the film version of that, and we'll do a sequel at some point. Also, there was a French translation, which you felt how you lost some stuff in the translation, but my God, the name of that escapes me. But it is a World War I sort of epic, but with characters that were so ridiculously well drawn and relatable. So yeah, I've been all over the board this year, and have really enjoyed, you know, everything that I've read.
How about you, Chris?
Okay, when you order the Tinderbox from R.J. Julia, some of the other books that and this is my journal of, you know, all the books that I read, it goes back decades. this year of the books that I just loved, The Ancestor by Danielle Trussoni, Long Bright River by Liz Moore, Universe of Two by Stephen Kiernan, Separation Anxiety by Laura Zigman, A Beautiful Crime by Christopher Boland, The Book of Two Ways by Jodi Picoult, The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, and If You Can Deal with Dread, Leave the World Behind by Rumen Alam. Pair it with Jerry Seinfeld's Is This Anything to cleanse your palate so you can sleep.